everybody, this is Aeroica. Thanks so much for stopping by for another video. So ever since the update, I've been really working pretty hard on the campaign mode under the challenge setting, and I've actually found it rather challenging and really a lot of fun. Instead of being able to just throw this on auto and sort of work my way through it without even trying, this actually requires some form of strategy, some kind of tactic in order to be able to win, and I really do like that. This video, though, is going to profile the dungeon, the lair of the Lich, where we find the boss, the Lich. I actually found him very difficult in the beginning, and then I was able to sort of tailor a team together that really does work really well. I think later on in the game, when you get into the higher levels, a little closer to 70, it won't be as challenging, and I think we sort of expect that. But if you're around my level, maybe level 61, level 62, maybe even 63, this strategy does require some form of strategy, and I'm going to share with you what I found works for me. So I put together numerous groups with a different level of diversity, trying to take advantage of some of the traits that maybe these heroes have and some of the new bonus statistics that were applied to updates, including casters and so forth, to try to see if I could give myself a better edge in employing a team that maybe I would never normally put together. I tried everything from using Rogar and Nub Nub along with Willow and Zom. I also tried an all-water team. I tried to use Yorks marked for death, along with casters and some tanks and a bunch of different situations. And really what I was hoping was going to work, my original strategy was to bring in an all-light team and also bring Leonidas in, because I thought, well, this is going to be a perfect situation. Unfortunately, Leonidas does not really have the damage output that allows for you to bring him into this dungeon at my current level. Later on down the road, he probably will do very well. Not to mention, my Leonidas is only a 3-star, and so probably not in the best condition to be bringing in to this dungeon at this particular time of my play, but hopefully later on down the road he'll be good. What I did find out works out really well is using an all-yellow team, an all-light team, but making sure that we include Echo. Echo is really going to be the key, at least at this stage for me, in getting the Lich down rather quickly. The Lich is incredibly sensitive towards lightning strikes and lightning damage. You can chew him down to 50% almost in the first 4 rounds. And so we're going to talk about how I utilized him and the timing, because there does have to be a little bit of timing involved to make sure that you get the attacks off. And if you do this correctly, you can actually make it before he does the power up, which pretty much destroys your team. At least at my level, it was almost a guarantee I was going to lose 2 people if he used it. So let me show you how I did that. So all of the characters that I ultimately chose as my team, and the team which, by the way, was consistent in taking down the Lich in one form or another, are all 6 stars, and they are also all level 62. And I think that's important because as you go through this, you're going to want them to be as strong as they possibly can be. It may vary if you have lower stars, but I think it's still possible to pull it off. You'd have to try it. In any case, you're going to have 4 platforms before you get to the boss. That's the same as the normal mode. But because you're bringing in light heroes and you will encounter dark heroes, you're going to want to take out the darker heroes first to help minimize the extra damage against your team. We don't want to start spending our heals too early in the dungeon because then we won't have them available later on, especially at the mini boss, which is right smack in the middle of the dungeon as you work your way towards the Lich. Once you do reach the mini boss, it is imperative that you get these 2 guys down as quickly as possible. You're going to have a fire imp to take down, or sort of a nitpick style, and then you're also going to have an Overlord Executum boss as well. My recommendation, I know this is going to sound a little bit backwards to what I told you about, however, because Overlord Executum is heavily armored, and the nitpick mini-boss is not, you can actually take him out rather quickly and early. And the reason I'm telling you to do that, which is contradictory to what I just said a minute ago, is because you'll be spending so much time on Overlord Executum that you'll be taking damage from both of them, and that I'd rather have you take the damage from one, even if it is increased, than 2 with the increase as well. So I would definitely take out the imp first. Don't be afraid. to use whatever abilities are here. We want to try to be a little sparing, but don't worry about it if you do, because if you incur too much damage here and you start wasting, you lose one of your guys, you're also not only going to miss out on the 3-star, but you're also going to be saving abilities that you may not even make it to the boss to use. So at this point, throw caution to the wind and just go ahead and do what you got to do to get him down. I find that a heavy attack up front works really well. Masuda is really an awesome at this. His third ability just chews a monster portion out of him, and then he goes right down after a couple of rounds, and that's the way you want to do it. I did have to use a heal here, and that's normal. Don't be afraid to use your potions either. I never said this was going to be 100% clean, but definitely bring a heal potion. And I always, when I come into dungeons, I always carry 1 heal, 1 energy, and 1 revive. And you'll see I use that here, and that's because I just don't want to mess around in losing anybody. I want to make sure that when we get, that I can make it to the boss, because I'm obviously going for a 3-star every time. Even if I've already 3-starred it, I still have an OCD thing, or I still would like to do that. But very important to make sure that you bring whatever you like, but that's what I like to bring. 1 of each of those 3 I feel is pretty good. So of course here we get the cinematic play where the Lich boss comes out, and let's talk now about how this fight goes on. So the goal with this strategy is to make sure that as you enter the boss fight, Echo will have his lightning storm attack up and ready to go at the beginning of the fight. And that's imperative, because if you do this correctly, as I mentioned earlier, you will be able to get him down to nearly 50%, if not a little bit beyond, pretty much within the first, I would say, 2 to 4 rounds, depending on how it goes. So you'll see that as I cast this on him, of course he gets it. The little mob that he heals himself up with also gets it, and that's good, because the DPS is, you need high DPS to pull this off. And this is the only way I could successfully do it, even at my level. And even with all different kinds of heroes, I was just completely unable to do it. So right now we're in our first round, and I already have him about 1/3 of the way down, maybe a little bit more. And he's going to, you'll see here, by the time it comes around to Masuda again, he'll be at the 50% mark. Excuse me, after Echo, he's already down even beyond the 50% point. So now, of course, we have the summon, his little summoner guys are back up again. And the other thing about this is that Echo doesn't take any damage from the Lich's little AoE attack that he does, which is really good. And of course the Lich is still charged up, so when I do the Death Blossom, we're not only getting DPS from the attack itself, but the charge is also going back into those little undead guys, and they take away his ability to heal. I just was, with all the different combinations I had prior to this, I would always miss one of them, or I wouldn't kill them enough, and either one of 2 things was happening. Either I was stalling, or I wasn't able to get any damage on the boss, one of the 2. Now I just cast the crit buff, and that's because we are so close to the end here. I want as much damage as I can, because again, I'm trying to beat his summon energy ability, because that literally wipes my team out every single time. So I choose to use the Blade Storm here because it should do enough damage, and I was correct in that assumption. It does almost take one of the little minion guys down, and so now I'm trying to make sure that he doesn't pull a heal off, because that's incredibly critical at this point. I decided to go ahead and use an energy potion and give that to Echo, because as soon as his turn comes up, I want him to be able to recharge back on the Lich one more time, because right now I don't carry enough DPS to pull this off. It won't happen. He'll either end up getting a heal, or I'm going to run into that nasty little AoE attack that he does later on down the road. So I shoot him with this again. That's going to take care of those little minions so he can't heal. It puts the charge back on the Lich. All he's going to do now is pull up a couple of more guys, and I'm going to completely ignore them. I'm simply going to go ahead and focus DPS on the boss. I have my Assassinate ability up on Diamond. I hit him with it, and that is the end of that. So what's key here is I wanted to experiment around a little bit with Echo and some other teams, but I preferred this one because the attacks that these guys have are good. They're better for this particular fight. Augustus is a really good, decent damage doer, and then also having some healing abilities. And then Echo, literally the gift-wrapped reason that this actually works, simply because he doesn't take any damage from the boss. From his little lightning attack that he does, or whatever, damage attack, in between summoning. He doesn't take any damage from that. He has the Lich boss has a sensitivity to lightning, and Echo does that very well. And because the energy requirements are not too bad, I can actually pull that up 2 times during the battle. Now, I did have to use an energy potion, but I feel like I could make it, but I don't want to play around with it. I'm really trying to out DPS the timer that gets that nasty attack to come out where he summons energy, and then basically destroys my entire team. So in any case, if you found something different that works for you, please post that in the comments, because I would really be curious. I spent a lot of time looking at different teams, trying different teams, and as you can imagine, it's a pretty time-consuming process to do that. So you're looking at them, you're trying to find good traits and abilities that work well together and cooperate together to come up with something different, because I was trying to find a team that was going to work really well with common heroes, not ones that you had to get out of VIP or any of the other heroic portals. I was trying to find something that could be obtained through other methods. But in my opinion, this whole thing works because of Echo. And the damage abilities of Matsuda and of Diamond work really well. And then not to mention, again, because Augustus can do fairly decent damage and then also has a pretty good heal. It's awesome. And then on top of that, even if you miss this by a little bit, if you know he's going to summon his energy up and do that nasty attack, you can put the Aegis Wall up, and hopefully that will take most of the damage. Now, I believe that the damage in that comes in waves, so the first part of it is going to miss, but then the nasty part of it is just when you think it's over, all of a sudden everybody's collapsing because they're dead. So you have to kind of make sure that holds up, or be ready for some heals when it's over. But definitely survivable, because I've certainly done it. My goal here was to not even have to worry about that. DPS burn the boss down as fast as I possibly can, using Echo's energy. I think it's a good strategy, and it works out really well for me, and it's very consistent. It's not always pretty. There are some times where I've lost a couple of teammates, or he's gotten that stupid attack off, but nonetheless, he's so far dead by the time that happens that as long as I have 1 or 2 characters up, I can still take him out in the end. In any case, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and you found it useful. If you find a team that doesn't include any of these guys at level 62, I would certainly be really curious to see how you pulled that off, or to look at it, because I will certainly try it. I think it's awesome when people theory craft together. In any case, thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate it. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe, and if you comment, I will do my best to reply. I definitely try to make an effort to do that for everybody that does so. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you at the next video.